Hey, good evening, folks. Welcome back to Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Jason Ingram. I wanted to do a gaming related video, just talk about a couple of things. Talk about Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown hitting the 1 year anniversary and doing the Tekken 7 collaboration DLC release. Give my thoughts on that. Want to talk about the recent Sony State of Play that took place. Talk about some of the games from that caught my attention. Also, talk a little bit about upcoming events that they have going. There's a lot to look forward to. Even though there's no E3, there's still some notable dates coming up that I wanted to talk a little bit about, and yeah, just go from there. But let's talk about the Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown Tekken 7 collaboration DLC. So they just hit their 1 year anniversary this past June 1st of the release of Ultimate Showdown. And so far they've done, this is their third DLC pack. They did a legendary pack upon release of the game. Then they did the Yakuza collaboration pack. And then just a couple of days ago, they did the Tekken 7 collaboration pack. And I have to say, I have some mixed feelings about the Tekken 7 collaboration pack. Let's go through each of these and I kind of give my thoughts. So Akira had the Kazuya Mishima skin, which thumbs up. I can accept. Aoi got the Asuka Kazama skin. I can agree with that. Brad Burns got Claudio, which honestly, I didn't like that one. I felt like it should have been Miguel, personally, just based on look. I really thought it should have been Miguel. Eileen had Alyssa Boskanovich, which honestly, I thought it should have been Lucky Chloe. Alyssa just looked weird to me. For Eileen, that just looked weird. Blaze got King. Yeah, I can respect that. I mean, I know a lot of folks said Wolf should have gotten King, but I mean, King is Mexican, Blaze is Mexican. I mean, they both are pro wrestlers, so I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Go Hinogami had Brian Fury, which honestly, I felt like that should have been Dragunov. I think Dragunov would have been a better fit for Go. Jackie had Paul Phoenix. I'm kind of halfway about this because on one hand, I can kind of understand why they went with Paul Phoenix as the skin for him. Just in look, I can kind of understand. But at the same time, maybe martial law would have been a better fit just based on style. But I think without having a martial law skin, I think you could pretty much make a martial law like look for Jackie without that DLC currently as we speak. I'm pretty sure. So I kind of can see both sides with Jackie, with Paul being a good pick, Paul Phoenix being a good pick, and that being a bad pick. I can kind of see both sides. Jean Kuja had Jin Kazama. Perfect fit. Jeffrey had Craig Marduk. Perfect fit. Kagemaru had Lars. I felt like it should have been Yoshimitsu. I mean, Kage's a ninja, Yoshimitsu's a ninja. I mean, it really... I really felt like that should have been an easy pick. Lao Chan had Heihachi. This is another one. Like Jackie Bryant, this is another one that I can see both sides. Like, I can understand Heihachi being a fit, but personally, I think Feng Wei would have been a better fit. But I can understand Heihachi. I can definitely understand Heihachi, but I think Feng Wei would have been a better fit for Lao Chan. Lei Fei had Eddie Gordo. No, I think honestly that was one of the worst. That was one of the worst. Just like Eddie Gordo, really? Like, I would have gone with like maybe Leo. Maybe Leo would have been a little bit of a better fit. But Eddie Gordo made no sense to me. Made no sense. Leon had Violet. I can dig that. That works. Pi had Lily. That definitely didn't make sense. I felt like it should have been Ling Xiaoyu. I mean, they move pretty much the same. Sarah had Nina Williams. Yeah, makes sense. That was probably the easiest one. Shundi had Lei Wulong. Makes sense. Taka Arashi had Bob. I have to give it a thumbs up. I know a lot of people probably are thinking Ganryu. But I mean, you really don't need a Tekken 7 Ganryu skin for Taka Arashi. I mean, you could pretty much make Ganryu without having to do all that. You know what I mean? So I think Bob made more sense in the fact that, it got to, showcase another skin of somebody of pretty much similar size, which would be Bob. Two different styles, but I can understand them using Bob for Taka Arashi. Vanessa had Master Raven. I'm kind of neutral. I mean, Master Raven isn't who I would have thought of. I would have thought more of somebody maybe like Katarina. I would have probably gone with Katarina, but I don't know that much about Master Raven, so And then Wolf Hawkfield was Armor King, which, like I said, I know a lot of people would go with King, but I mean, you got two wrestlers in the game, so you have to remember L Blaze, and it's a better fit. It's a better fit. So I feel like overall, they got some of them on point, and others, there were a few questionable, and then there were others that just flat out didn't make sense to me. So I would say about 50-50. And I've seen a lot of comments, just a lot of people aren't fans of this Tekken 7 collaboration, DLC, or just the fact that, this happened. And I do understand what a lot of people are saying, because it's like, we have to remember, Tekken and Virtua Fighter, I mean, are competitors. It's competition. And there's a lot of huge Tekken fans that will crap on Virtua Fighter. So, I mean, I don't know, to see Tekken represented in Virtua Fighter has some pros and cons. Because, honestly, I don't think we'll ever see Virtua Fighter represented in a Tekken game. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I mean, I'm thankful that DOA pulled the trigger, but I don't see Tekken. I don't see Virtua Fighter being represented in Tekken. I don't see it happening. And it's such a bummer, but another thing we got to think about, y'all, is Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. We have to keep in mind, this is the fourth iteration of VF5. We had 5 Vanilla, we had 5 R, we had 5 Final Showdown, and now we have 5 Ultimate Showdown. That's 4. And yes, I understand. The US didn't get 5R. Yes, I know that. But still, it exists. It still existed. I mean, if you want to get technical, Virtua Fighter 4 had 3 iterations. 4 Vanilla, 4 Evo, and 4 Final Tune, which Final Tune never came out in America. So, I mean... And then when you think about it, Final Showdown and Ultimate Showdown are essentially the same game, just Ultimate Showdown has, you know, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. But, like, you know, it kind of bothers me a little bit because it's like, dang, you know, like, are we going to get a new Virtua Fighter? You know, like, is it finally going to happen? I mean, 1 year into Ultimate Showdown, and it's like no news on a new Virtua Fighter. The tournaments are still in beta. You know, like, the game's been out for a year, and the tournaments, the little tournaments on the weekends are still in beta. Like, really? I mean, is there a reason why they're still in beta right now? You know, I'm just saying. You know, these are things to, you know, that concern me. You know, that plus the fact that they're, you know, we're on 4 iterations of Virtua Fighter 5, and not even a sixth one has even been in discussion, or, you know, is it even going to happen? You know, so it worries me. It worries me. Because now, you know, with stuff like, you know, Street Fighter 6 being announced, and who knows when, you know, when Tekken 8 is going to be announced. I mean, you know, give that probably another year or so. Please forgive me, I got something in my eye. But who knows when, you know, Tekken 8 will get announced, you know? So, but anyway, let's move on to the recent PlayStation State of Play that took place. So it took place this past Thursday, which it was about 30 minutes. So I believe it was longer than the previous State of Play. But I felt like this was actually a pretty decent State of Play. Now, I know they kicked it off with Resident Evil 4 Remake, which they do have a release date of March 23rd of 2023. Here's my thing. Did Resident Evil 4 need a remake? I honestly don't feel that it needed a remake. I feel like this is another Capcom milking for money. Because Resident Evil 4 as it is now is such an incredible game. One of the best Resident Evil games. So honestly, like, did it really need to be remade? Because it, you know, from what it showed, it looks like it's not going to be that much different than what they did when they remake Resident Evil 2 and 3. You know, just better graphics, but that's, I mean, and maybe they'll, you know, change the story a little bit, you know, tweak it. But that's all I really am expecting, and it's just kind of a bummer because realistically, I don't even think Resident Evil 2 needed to be remade. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that. But yeah. But, I mean, it's cool that, you know, it at least, they announced it has a release date and whatnot. They also talked about some upcoming PlayStation VR2 games, like Resident Evil Village will have VR2 support, No Man's Sky will have VR2 support, and they announced a new Horizon game, Horizon Call of the Mountain, which will be a PlayStation VR2 game. So I thought that was pretty neat. I doubt that I will get a VR2 because honestly, VR is nice, but I never considered it something that I just had to have. You know what I mean? So I can appreciate VR, but it's not really something that I just have to have. You know what I mean? It's not a requirement for me as a gamer. Um, I thought it was pretty cool that Spider-Man, the remastered Spider-Man, is coming to PC. I know PC gamers probably pretty hyped about that because it's a beautiful looking game, and I'm sure that the PC will probably be able to push it more. They showed off the Callisto Protocol, which honestly, with how the trailer was looking, I thought it was going to be a new Dead Space. But the Callisto Protocol, I mean, it looks like it could be a Dead Space type of game, but yeah, it looked interesting. They showed off Roller Drome, which looked really weird. I mean, really, really weird. They had an action slash dating sim game called Eternights, which I might keep an eye out for. Like, I've never heard of a combo like that before, but it looked interesting, so I'm gonna keep an eye out for that game. They also showed Stray, which is like a cyberpunk platformer where you're playing as a kitty cat. It looked interesting. I might check it out. I might definitely check it out. But it was very intriguing game. And then of course they showed off nice juicy trailer for Street Fighter 6. And you know, for the most part, I thought it was really cool. It kind of had that Street Fighter 5 cross with a little bit of Killer Instinct mixed in there. Just with the way it looked, just with some of the graphics and some of the effects, it kind of had that Killer Instinct type of look to it. You know, very very minor, but that's what it kind of looked like to me. I don't know if anybody else would agree, but yeah. And it looks like it's gonna have an open world story mode, which I thought was pretty neat. And they had confirmed Luke, Jamie, Ryu, and Chun-Li, and I believe Kimberly like at the last second. But apparently there's been some leaked photos of the roster, and it looks like it has some notable names on there. Like it had in the leaked pictures, it had Zangief, it had Juri, it had Akuma, it had Rashid, Dalsim, E Honda, Blanca, Guile, DJ. Looks like Cammy as well. So I mean, it looked like some notable names on there that we are probably going to see. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but the trailer looked great. And I'm just looking forward. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm sure they're going to probably do a beta for it. But my ultimate thing is, as long as the release doesn't go anything like how they did Street Fighter V, I'll be happy. I hope it has good marketing and a complete game is released. I don't mind DLC later, but release a complete game, Capcom. That's all I'm asking. Release a complete game. So I'm hoping that they do that with Street Fighter 6. And, you know, as time passes, they'll showcase some more characters. But game looks great. You know, I'm definitely excited for Street Fighter 6. It looks awesome. So, should be good. And then, of course, to end the state of play, they showed off a nice, juicy trailer for Final Fantasy 16, which they confirmed will release summer of 2023. And I think one of the things that it really showcased well was it looked like there were some battles between different summon monsters. Like we saw Ifrit, we saw Bahamut, saw Rama, saw Shiva, like a whole bunch of different summon monsters. So I thought it was really cool, and just looks like the combat's like kind of like an action RPG type of combat. But I'm definitely looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. But you know what? It makes me wonder. So we still didn't get any sort of news or update on Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2. So honestly, who knows? Maybe that'll be Tokyo Game Show this year, perhaps. Or maybe, sometime this summer, because they got a lot of stuff coming up this summer. But I do hope to get more news on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 before the end of this year. I hope they do before the end of this year. But that was the state of play, the recent Sony State of Play. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely better than the last one that they did. So, also, some more upcoming things that they got for not only this month, but for the rest of the summer. Like, so they had the recent State of Play. Limited Run Games is supposed to be doing a showcase June 6th, so that's right around the corner. So, apparently it's supposed to feature more than 30 game trailers. So, that should be interesting. Let's see, Netflix Geek Week runs through June 10th. June 8th, they're going to have the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 reveal. So I know they just recently announced that, but they're going to do an actual reveal trailer. So that's June 8th. And then the Summer Game Fest live. That's this coming Thursday, June 9th, which that's supposed to be hosted by Jeff Keighley, and it's supposed to feature new game announcements, and it's a cross-industry showcase. So expect announcements from a whole bunch of different companies. So that should be interesting. And not only that, they're even going to show the Summer Game Fest live in some select theaters, select IMAX theaters. And they also mentioned that they're going to do the same later for the Game Awards. So, definitely keep an eye out for the Summer Game Fest, June 9th. It looks like it could be a pretty big showcase. They got an Upload VR showcase as well. And I'll be sure to put a link in the description box with these events and dates. Let's see. June 11th has a Guerrilla Collective and Wholesome Direct. That's Saturday, June 11th, which is pretty much supposed to showcase a bunch of different indie games and interviews. And then we got the Futures Game Show. That will be... So there will be a series of those featuring about 40 games across Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. There's going to be a couple of series. It'll be the second of 3 future game shows planned, and then we got one in August as part of Gamescom. So I'm wondering if the Summer Games Fest is the first part. I wonder if that's the first part. Let's see, June 12th, we got the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, which that is on a Sunday. But it's going to feature games from Microsoft's first-party studios and Bethesda, as well as some third-party game announcements, and it's supposed to run for at least 90 minutes. So, an hour and a half. Ooh. So it looks like that's going to be a heavy hitter. And then they have a PC gaming show, which, or maybe this is part of the future game show, but supposed to feature a bunch of upcoming PC games. Oh, and it's gonna air right after the Xbox and Bethesda showcase with more than 45 games total. Ooh, interesting. So yeah, and like I said, I'll put the link to that in the description box. But yeah, y'all, that's a lot of upcoming showcases to look forward to. You know, and they just did a few other announcements. Like they just did the trailer reveal for Madden 23, which the spotlight's gonna be on remembering John Madden. So they got that. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff gaming related to look forward to that they got coming up. I know as far as the FGC and tournaments, I know we got EVO, we got CEO. Speaking of which, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So the whole Infiltration fiasco. So apparently Infiltration got word that he is pretty much permanently banned from any and all Capcom related tournaments or circuit series, stuff like that. He's pretty much banned. Of course, there's a lot of history of stuff behind with Infiltration. I mean, the whole thing with the domestic violence with domestic abuse, dealing with his ex-wife, and then the whole thing with him, addressing about him feeling like he should be allowed to call friends, the F word and the N word, because they're cool, they're tight with each other. So I'm gonna just say this. I have mixed feelings overall about it, and here's why. So first off, I can totally understand, the punishment, for stuff like that. I mean, that way of thinking is just really messed up. Like, to have the idea that, oh, he's my friend, so, I should be able to call him the N word, the F word. I mean, because we're cool. No. That doesn't change the fact that those are derogatory, insulting, nasty words. Plain and simple as that. There's a reason why there's certain definitions for those words. There's a reason why there's so much buzz around those words. So, friend, foe, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that they're terrible words. It doesn't change that fact. So, I can understand the punishment, or just the idea that him being punished for that, as well as the previous punishment for that whole domestic abuse, the whole situation with his ex-wife. But here's the thing. Society at some point has to come to some sort of decision. When does somebody qualify for redemption? Like, will serving your punishment, will serving time, or whatever the punishment is, in doing that, legit, like to the max, sincerely, not saying that everybody does, but to those that do, when do they finally become eligible for redemption? I feel like society as a whole has to get to some sort of conclusion of when is redemption eligible. Because, you know, like I said, I don't know Infiltration personally, but my thing is this. You know, what if it has or does come to a point that, you know, all that he's done time for, he's served punishment for, and all that, then what? You know, almost kind of like, you know, somebody that commits a crime, you know, serves their time, serves the punishment or whatnot to the max, then they get released. It's like, then what? I understand the idea that trust has to be rebuilt, has to be regained, respect has to be regained. I get that. You have to get reestablished. But at some point, when does that person become redeemed? Or when is that person eligible for redemption? I think society has to, at some point, make a fair decision. So, you know, because honestly, there's plenty out there that, you know, have served their time and yet still feel like they can't get back into society or get back to normal again. And you know, others are different, and every situation is different. But I'm just saying, it's something to think about. It's something to think about. Because there are plenty of folks out there that have made mistakes, and they have, you know, they've done their time, they've learned from their mistakes, and they've proven and have showed that they've learned from their mistakes. And, you know, at some point, each and every one of us have made a mistake that we've greatly regretted at some point in our lives. And for those that say that they haven't, I'm sorry, but you're lying. Everybody has made at least one mistake that they deeply regret. I have, you have, everybody has. So, I'm going to just leave it at that. But anyway, that's all that I have for this video. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. What are y'all's thoughts on the upcoming schedule of events? What are y'all's thoughts on the recent Sony State of Play? What are y'all's thoughts on the recent Tekken 7 collaboration DLC for Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown? What do you think about just... It's been 1 year since the game's released. What do you think is next for Virtua Fighter? Let's see. What are y'all's thoughts on the whole Infiltration situation? But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. And thank you so much for watching. This is Blitzball Champ Jason Inger with Blitzball Champ Gaming signing off. Hope everybody has a blessed weekend, and I will see y'all very soon. God bless and peace out.